Hello everyone, my name is Maham Mirza and I am doing the presentation for Chapter 12, BPM as an Enterprise Capability for IS 373. So what is BPM as an enterprise capability? Well, business process management essentially involves strategically optimizing how we do things in our organization to improve efficiency, effectiveness, and agility. It's about having a structured approach to managing our processes from start to finish, from designing and implementing them to constantly monitoring and optimizing them for better performance. Now, why is this important? Well, BPM as an enterprise capability is all about aligning our business processes with our organizational goals. It's about making sure that every task that we do directly contributes to achieving our main objective. But it doesn't stop there. BPM also plays an important role in enhancing customer satisfaction, in reducing cost, and also in driving innovation within our organization. So, by optimizing our processes, we can provide better products and services to our customer. We can save money through increased efficiency and create a culture that has continuous improvement and overall just creativity. And you might wonder, how do we achieve all this? So, through the use of various methodologies, tools, and technologies that help us simplify our operations and boost productivity and adapt to the ever-changing market conditions. So, basically, overall, BPM is the foundation that allows us to run our organization more effectively. It allows us to meet our goals, satisfy our customers, and drive innovation. So throughout this presentation, I'll go into more detail how BPN can be implemented and the benefits that it brings. All right, so let's go into BPM programs. This refers to a collection of multiple business process management projects conducted simultaneously within an organization. So think about this. Within an organization, we're trying to improve how we do things. That's where BPM program comes into play. Essentially, BPM programs are basically like a collection of different improvement projects that are happening at the same time. They're not just about fixing one thing, they're basically about fixing multiple aspects of our business process all at once. So managing these BPM programs can be difficult. With a lot of projects happening at the same time, each with its own set of goals and challenges, it's a lot and it's tough. But why do we do it? Because these programs are important for making change and it would allow us to achieve success as an organization. So think of BPM programs as kind of like a map that allows us for continuous improvement. It's about making sure we're constantly moving forward and addressing any inefficiencies, any problems, improving the quality, and in the end, just to overall deliver the best results for our organization. So when we say BPM programs, we're not just talking about separate projects. It's more like a strategic plan for improving everything in our organization. We set goals, we work together, and we make our whole organization better. Let's talk about some of the problems that we might run into with BPM programs. One big issue is when we focus too much on the methods and tools that we're using rather than the actual goals of our organization. So, when companies focus too much on using BPM methods and tools without checking if they even help reach the business goals, they might waste resources on things that don't really help. This can lead to inefficiencies, wasted efforts, and a gap between improving processes and the organization's main goals. Next issue is treating BPM as the sole solution. So thinking that BPM is the only solution to all the problems in the company can be bad. While BPM is good for improving processes, but only focusing on it might ignore the benefits of other management methods. It's important that we combine BPM with other management methods to see the bigger picture and improve things in a more balanced way. Next, we have isolated BPM projects. When BPM projects are managed separately without thinking about how they affect the whole organization, that can be a problem. This might lead to you might end up doing the same work twice, you might not be working efficiently and not getting the full benefits of BPM. So it's important that we work together and be more coordinated to make improvements that benefit the whole organization. And lastly, we have resistance to change. So when people in the company don't want to change, it can be hard. It can be hard to make the BPM programs work. If employees, stakeholders, or any leaders don't agree with the changes, that can be a big problem. So, in order for BPM to be successful, it's important that everyone is on board and open to trying new ways of working. This would help create a culture where improvement is always happening. So, Chapter 12 talks about the BPM maturity model. BPM maturity tells us how good a company is at managing its processes. It shows how advanced their methods are, from finding processes to trying to make them better. It's like a way to measure how smartly a company handles its processes. BPM maturity includes important things like making sure processes match up with their company's goals, um, and setting up good ways to manage things, using the best methods and tools, and using connecting with technology, getting employees involved and motivated, and building a culture that appreciates doing things really well. So, as organizations improve in BPM, their processes would run better, operations would become more efficient, and the overall business would improve. So, to measure BPM maturity, organizations evaluate their current state, they find the areas that need to be improved, and then they plan how to make their BPM abilities better. Now let's talk about the BPM maturity model levels. So as we're going through the BPM maturity levels, it's important for companies to evolve and improve. When we start at the initial level, level 1, this introduces BPM concepts, but it's rare or non-existent, and there's not a lot of employees involved at this stage. And we advance to the managed stage, which develops BPM skills and puts more emphasis on processes. Next, we advance to the defined level, which is level 3. This brings real benefits from early BPM projects, and it also sets up internal training programs for continuous improvement. Next, we move on to quantitatively managed stage, which is level 4, and this highlights the strategic parts of BPM, such as focusing on change management and monitoring performance. And lastly, we reach the optimizing level, which is level 5, and this means that the organization is at its best with BPM. So the standard methods make work easier, and the organization is able to do more on its own without needing help from others. Next slide, we'll be talking about 6 important factors that boost BPM maturity and make BPM programs successful. So this picture shows the 6 success factors of BPM maturity. Chapter 12 discusses 4 out of the 6 success factors of BPM maturity, which are strategic alignment, governance, people, and culture. So starting with strategic alignment, this is really important because it connects how we manage business process with what our company wants to achieve. So this link makes sure that we use our resources wisely on processes that directly help us reach our goals. Basically, we focus on the most important things that our business needs. Also, when we're strategically aligned, it encourages us to come up with new and better ways to do things that fit our overall strategy. It also helps us make smarter decisions by showing how changes in our goals affect the way we do things. So, by listening to what stakeholders, like customers, think, strategic alignment would make us make sure that our BPM projects meet our customers' needs, and that would result in our customers being happier and just the overall success of the company. Next, we have governance. In the context of business process management, It's all about making sure everyone knows their roles and responsibilities when it comes to managing processes in the company. It's basically a set of rules and guidelines to make sure that decisions about processes are made in the right way, by the right people, and at the right time. Governance involves measuring how well processes are performing and making sure there are standards and guidelines that are in place and they're consistent throughout the BPM projects. This is basically to make sure that everything runs smoothly. Next, we have the people factor in business process management, and this is about individuals and groups that are involved in BPM projects and how they work with each other. It's about understanding what knowledge people have about processes and BPM and how they work together, how they communicate, and their willingness to lead BPM. So the people factor focuses on empowering people with the right knowledge, the skills, and and the right attitude that would drive the overall success of BPM. It also emphasizes the importance of creating a culture of collaboration, communication, and continuous learning within the organization. And last but not least, we have culture. And this means the shared values and beliefs in the company that affects how employees view processes and are open to change. So it includes things like how quickly employees adapt to process change, how much they believe in following the processes, and how leaders pay attention to BPM. So a good BPM culture would mean employees actively help improve processes, they understand the concepts of BPM, and they support the BPM projects. And management is a big management support is key to building this culture. So showing that BPM is important to the company. Also, social networks where employees share experiences and knowledge about BPM are also important for BPM success. These networks basically provide a platform for employees to connect and learn from each other about BPM. Chapter 12 also talks about measuring process maturity and BPM maturity. So the difference between the two is that BPM maturity is about understanding how well a company manages its processes related to its operations. So this would include things like how well they plan and execute and improve these processes. Process maturity, on the other hand, looks at how well the company's overall operations are organized and managed. So it focuses on the quality and effectiveness of the various tasks and procedures the company follows to achieve its goals. So while BPM maturity is specifically about managing processes, process maturity is about the overall organization and the efficiency of the company's operations. So to measure process maturity and BPM maturity, we have two frameworks. Organizations use structured frameworks like CMMI, which is Capability Maturity Model Integration, and the BPM Maturity Model to evaluate how well their processes and BPM initiatives are doing. So they look at things like how well defined their processes are, how efficiently they're executed, and how well BPM aligns with their goals. So by using both frameworks together, organizations are able to get a clear picture of where they stand and they can focus on what needs to be improved. And doing this would help the organizations look at the areas that need to be improved. And this would make sure that BPM is aligned with their goals and they can work on improvement. So this picture shows the patterns of BPM maturity. And we have the blue pattern, orange pattern, and green pattern. And then you can look in the chart and as you can see, we discussed about the labels in the previous slides. So the blue pattern shows that the organization has high maturity in strategic alignment and governance, but low maturity in other areas of BPM. It means that important people in the organization, like the CFO or the CEO, they're leading and supporting BPM projects. And Even though there is a lot of support for BPM from these executives, the organization depends heavily on outside experts, and this can make employees feel less involved, and it might not be good for the company in the long run. Next, we have the orange pattern. So here, the organization is great at using methods and technology for BPM, but there's not much else. It usually happens when the IT department leads BPM. They focus on a lot they focus a lot on using software and other advanced tools, but sometimes they forget about the rest of the company needs. And happen, this can mean that BPM activities don't really help the business as a whole. And lastly, we have the green pattern. This shows that the organization is okay with involving people and their culture in BPM, but again, not much else. And this happens in places where there are a lot of rules and everyone has to agree on any changes. While BPM might be happening at different levels, it might not really match up with with what the company wants to achieve overall. So in conclusion, it's important to understand BPM maturity patterns within organizations. These patterns offer valuable insights into how companies approach BPM and where they need to concentrate their attention for improvement. So, by acknowledging the diverse levels of maturity across different areas such as strategic alignment, governance, methods, IT, people, and culture, we can customize our BPM strategies for sustainable success. And in doing so, this understanding empowers us to drive meaningful change and we achieve our goals. And this would give make sure that we have long-term BPM success. Thank you.